EY means export of rice. So Vietnam experienced an increase in the price of rice to the world level from PV to PV to PW. Quantity supplied will increase, whereas quantity demand will decrease. The amount by which quantity supplied exceeds quantity demand in Vietnam at PW is constitutes its export of rice. So Japan experienced a decrease in the price of rice to the world level from PJ to PW. Here, quantity supplied will decrease, whereas while quantity demand will increase, the amount by which quantity demand exceeds quantity supplied in Japan at PW is constitute its imports of rice, and the country that has an absolute advantage, Vietnam, expands its quantity supplied and export the good in question. So while the trading partner Japan contracts its quantity supplied and imports the good. So um, uh, the question that often arises in students in our the question is what ensure that the amount exported by Vietnam is the same as the amount imported by Japan, and the answer is the if EV were smaller than ZG, there would be excess demand or a shortage in the world market for rice. As we know from introductory microeconomics, excess demand caused the price to rise as PW rose, export of Vietnam will increase and imports of Japan will decrease until the excess demand in the world market disappeared. Similarly, if EV were large than Z, PW will fall to bring the world market back into equilibrium. So next I will explain about giants from trade. So it's the core from change from trade, yeah. So uh, until here, we have seen that given a pattern of absolute advantage, it is possible for our country to give up autarky in favor importing of exporting. Japan can import rice and Vietnam can export rice, but should a country actually do this? So let's see the curve here. First, consider to Vietnam in its movement from autarky to exporting in the rice market. Producer experience both an increase in price and an increase in quantity supplied along the supply curve. This should be good for producer, and as you can see here, there has been an increase in producer, suppose if area A plus B as a result of the movement from autarky to trade. So consumers, on the other hand, experience an increase the price and a decrease in quantity demand along the demand curve. This should harm consumer, and you can see here that there has been a decrease in consumer surplus of area A. So uh, so what do this effect means from Japan? Consumer have gained C plus D, while producer have lost area C. The gain to consumer exceed the loss to producer. For the economy as a whole, then there is a net welfare increase of area D, and Japan gains from its entry to the world economic as an importer. So you can see the moving from authority to either importing or exporting involves a net increase in welfare for the country involved. involved does not increase in welfare is now as the gain from trade. Not only is it possible for a country to give out authority in favor of importing or exporting, but it makes sense to do so in most instances from the standpoint of overall welfare. So that's all for me. Continue by my friend Adrian.
Hello guys, now we'll explain about the limitation of the absolute advantage that can improve overall welfare for the countries and involved. The notion of the gains from the trade also has its limits because not all people from the country will gain from the trade, and also not all of the country can gain the absolute advantage. The example is if we talk about the rice example from the above, we can see that the rice processor of Japan lose from the trade and the consumer of rice lose from the trade. So the producer of rice is from Japan. It is compete by the export from the Vietnam, but the Vietnam people also get the disadvantage because they don't have the price to eat for themselves. And now from our group conclusion, so a country with a better technology and a larger endowment of the factors necessary to produce an item is more likely to have an absolute advantage in the production of the item. This means that the country with a high technology will have an absolute advantage in the trade. And then, in absolute advantage, it has limits. A country might not have anything to export at all, like the limitation we explained. And the other limitation is that there will be people who don't gain from the trade. That is all from our group. Thank you.